Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Triple Jump podcast. It's a video game podcast. My name is Ben.
My name is Peter.
And my name is Ashton.
Today, if you're watching the video version, you get a special treat in that we are dressed vaguely in Halloween costumes, in the American sense, in that you just cosplay.
You just wear anything you want.
You just dress up.
Which is a bit, I don't really appreciate that as a Halloween thing, but...
And yet,
I didn't own a spooky costume, so I mean, dragons are scary, right?
Yeah, so Peter, talk us through what you're wearing today.
I am Spyro. I'm wearing my Spyro onesie. People have seen me wearing this before.
You pull down your hood a little bit so they can see on the camera. There he is. Look at that.
There he is.
He's got
There's
eyes
our
and
boy.
everything.
Good boy.
Eyes
Pretty
and
scary if you're a Gnorc.
Yes.
Gonna get you. Or a Rhinoc.
For all the Gnorcs watching.
All the Gnorcs out
Gnorcs
there.
must die.
Yeah.
Etc.
Trigger warning, Spyro.
Yes, exactly.
Ashton Matthews, who are you wearing today?
I'm dressed as Lara Croft post first aeroplane crash where she's got no belongings and no money and nothing.
Is that a belt you're wearing?
It's a belt. It's meant to be a quiver. You know how she normally has a quiver on her back?
Well, you can't
A
see
quiver.
There might be a quiver back there. You don't know.
Yeah, it's just hidden behind there. But yeah, I'm Lara.
You didn't have to say that you didn't have weapons. You could have had two pistols just
Yeah,
down
they're
there.
just
No one
down here.
knows. No one knows.
She does come to
I did
work
put
with
cargo
guns,
trousers
so.
on today, in like being like, yeah, Lara Croft would wear cargo trousers, forgetting that I sit down for the
one's
podcast and you
gonna
can't
see.
see it.
Well,
I'm
that
wearing no
hasn't
trousers
stopped
at
me.
all down
Peter's
here.
naked
That's
from the
true.
waist down. We keep asking him to stop,
Yeah.
and yet
Yeah, we haven't got HR here, so
we don't.
we have no power.
No.
We can do nothing. Ben, who are you dressed as today?
I am Peter B. Parker off of Into the Spider-Verse. So I'm wearing my Spidey suit, I'm wearing my jacket, and under the table, I'm wearing my joggers.
But
It's
can't be seen.
Can't be seen.
Maybe we should do the whole podcast standing up. There they are.
There
we
it
are.
is. That was really challenging.
Beautiful.
Let's put that back down. There we are.
As if you just got stuck there and had to do the rest of the podcast.
Yeah,
Just
that's
the
it.
leg.
So call an ambulance. I'm in pain. So this is our video game podcast. Again, you should be watching the video version because you get a real visual treat as we dress up for you today. Each week, we are sponsored by a very real video game adjacent sponsor. I believe largely this week we have sort of spooky questions as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it is very much our Halloween episode. Halloween, of course, tomorrow, in case you forgot. At the time of release, not
Yes.
at the time of recording. Are you ready to hear this week's sponsor? I have it written down in front of me now.
Absolutely, I am,
Hope
Ben.
it's scary.
We are sponsored by Frankenstein's Monster Energy.
Big fan.
Good.
And it actually says here, a lot of people get it wrong.
Yeah.
Monster Energy is the drink. Frankenstein is the American beverage company that manufactures energy drinks and as of 2020 held nearly 39% of the 5.7 billion US energy drink market.
Well, I was about to say that, so I'm glad I didn't steal.
It's a very
Yeah.
common mistake. A lot of
Yeah.
people
Read
don't
that.
get that. So
Oh my
Frankenstein's
god, you're
Monster
Frankenstein. No.
No. I'm the
And then
energy
Monster
drink.
Energy
I am-
drink.
I'm a can of drink.
Yeah.
I am the American beverage company that manufactures energy drinks and as of 2020 held nearly 39% of the 5.7 billion US energy drink market. God, where did you go to school?
Yeah.
Did they not teach you that at school?
Yeah,
Just
what?
basic English lit.
Mary Shelley.
Stupid,
Come on.
stupid sillies. Of course, that is not true.
Oh.
Sorry.
So
it's
it
not
is
true.
Frankenstein.
It's not. It is Frankenstein.
Yeah, we're sponsored by the monster.
We are sponsored by Frankenstein. The monster. So we hope you enjoy that. No, of course, we're sponsored by wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/team triple jump, where for as little as $1 per month, you can submit questions to this podcast. But if you go up a couple of tiers, you get flipping loads of rewards, including the After Dark non-video game podcast that we record every fortnight. We're doing it directly after this one. So maybe consider supporting us there if you can. If not, doesn't matter. Tell your friends, share it around. We appreciate it.
We love you anyway.
Thank you
Yeah,
for coming.
it's all right.
There is another sponsor, though, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, TripleJump.gg.
Hello, everyone. As well as our extremely real and totally not fictitious in any way sponsor, we're officially partnered with PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo to sell their codes through our own website, TripleJump.gg.
Here you can get everything from topping up your digital wallets to PlayStation Plus, Xbox Live Gold, Xbox Game Pass, and Nintendo Switch Online subscriptions, as well as Minecraft Mine Coins. Mine Coins, they'll be your coins any minute.
Nice one, Peter.
Oh, thanks very much.
It's 100% legitimate, directly supports us, and provides you with the delightful digital currencies you're going to buy anyway. Visit triplejump.gg to browse our full stock.
TripleJump.gg. This is a real sponsor. It's time for question 1. Sorry, were you guys ready? You were sort of shuffling.
Sorry,
I was about to dance, actually.
Yeah.
I was just
Okay.
doing
Carrying on. Time for question 1. Samuel Benson. Hello, friends. I do not enjoy horror games one bit. The only semi-horror game I've played in the last 10 years was Alan Wake. Any entry-level spookum games you would recommend to a spookiverse fellow like myself?
What a fantastic time to ask this question. Because last night, at the time of recording, this week, at the time of release, we actually uploaded a video, a list, 10 spooky games 10 slightly spooky games for people who aren't that into spooks. Maybe you can check it out. In fact, Samuel, I saw you replied on Twitter to that tweet saying, I just asked a question about this for the podcast.
Well, there you go.
So that question answered.
Relevant.
Yeah, so let's move on to what we played. No.
Watch the video.
Watch the video for a start.
Samuel, thank you for your question.
Thank you.
I've got a kind of 3 categories of spooky, non-spooky games.
Yeah.
The first is games that aren't specifically horror games, but they're very atmospheric. And so that could maybe just like help get you, take small steps towards something that's actually spooky. So something like Bioshock.
They're a gateway game.
Gateway game, exactly.
Oh, Bioshock's
something like
good shit.
Bioshock, or maybe like Limbo or Inside, something like that. Just very atmospheric and like, a bit haunting, but not scary, Then I've got maybe the next step would be, yes, probably categorically a horror game, but not actually scary. Something like Resident Evil 4, which really has very few, if any, actually scary moments in it. It's very action-packed. There are monsters and stuff, and it's maybe a little bit haunting in terms of the locations that you go to. Creepy village, scary castle with people sort of
Silly feet.
moaning, silly feet. And then if those both actually sound too much for you, why not play a horror game that's just really stupid and like it's not going to scare you because it's so bad.
Yeah.
Aliens Cloning Marines.
Oh.
Good.
Give that a go.
Yeah, if you really want to.
There are plenty of laughable horror games out there. We
Yes.
may well be talking about some of them
Yes,
either
there
later on in the podcast, or it might even be someone's answer to this question. So various points of attack, angles of it, whatever the phrase is, one of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashton?
Well, I also put a Resi game down. I put Resi 2 down because even though like there's zombies and sewers and monsters, I don't think Resi 2 is a particularly scary game. It's more like you running around and you know that something is hunting you, but when you see him, you could just peg it the other way normally.
The remake's a bit scary.
The remake is a bit scary, but
The
I
sound
don't.
design's
But I
scary.
don't think it's like jump scary.
No.
It's kind of like atmospheric and kind of like
It's a horror game, isn't
It's
it?
a horror
But it's
game,
not-
but it's
yeah.
not like shaking in your boots the whole time. You
No.
can sometimes find it a bit funny.
I don't think it would keep you awake at night.
No, I don't
Just
think so.
What I really didn't like, there was like a flooded corridor to the right of the front door of the police precinct that was, I think, in the dark for most of the game or all of the game. And
You had to crawl under the shutter to get in.
Right. at the beginning, yeah.
And every time I went down there, there was this period of time where I was playing the game where I had run out of ammo. And I had to like go back and forth that corridor a couple of times. And there was this woman zombie in there who I think I'd like downed, but she was still alive. And she made the most horrible noises. And every time I had to run past her, and I was like, I don't want to try and fight her or anything. I'm just going to get past her. And just being in that dark, wet corridor with just the horrible gurglings of this lady was not very nice. But yeah, you don't then go to bed that night and feel like, oh,
A zombie.
she's going to get me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was one moment in Resi 2, the remake, where I found myself down a corridor that was a dead end. And suddenly there was 2 of this like silent, like crawler thingies. I don't know what they're called, but
Lickers.
And I was like, oh no. So I was like, I don't know what to do. I could shoot them. And I knew that Big Daddy X was coming on his way. And as I turned around, he was just right at the end of this corridor walking towards me, and there was just a wall behind me, and I was like, no, this isn't fair. Paused the game, and as I unpaused it, he just booted me around the head.
Oh, no.
It just killed me.
He's so rude, that
Yeah,
is.
he is very rude. But also, I think there's games that you can play in co-op that make them less scary. So games like Phasmophobia is more. I mean, it is a bit scary, but it's more funny because you can listen to your friends just die over the walkie-talkie. It's always quite funny, and you can just send that one friend in that always dies first and see where they die, and then you can just figure out where the ghosty is.
It's the VR aspect of that game that spooks me the most.
I've played it in VR, and to be fair, it is much scarier in VR, but also it's just quite funny because it's so glitchy. You're just running around and you're like, you have to like do things. And because it's your actual movement, people who aren't in VR just move kind of like robots. And you've got you going, ooh, just limbs.
Spaghettiing around corners.
And your head's gone weird because the VR's not like, it's not used to that kind of movement. But Phasmo in VR is scary, but also very funny. But also games like Dead by Daylight are technically a horror game, but they're funny because if you play them with a group of friends, like I never play it online, if you play with a group of friends, you've got someone pretending to be the bad guy just hunting you down, and we like to get in character, so we like to be like, Mummy wants to put you on her wall, come here, and then slam you up on the hook, you know,
I don't like that.
Fun stuff. And that's not very scary because you're just playing it with your friends, so that is again a gateway game into getting you into spookums, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ben?
Co-op and playing locally are all, as you said, great ways to start playing horror games. So, Dark Pictures Anthology.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding
They're
to.
not very scary, and they honestly are quite laughable at times. They're honestly just quite ridiculous.
But they are a bit jump scary, is the only thing.
That's the thing, though, and we'll touch on that later. But getting a group of friends around and playing that as a sort of like a movie night game over the course of 3 or 4 hours is really fun. There's nothing quite like it, even if you're just taking the mick out of it the entire time, which is what we'll be doing from next week's joint streams. So make sure you come along for that. Additionally, Until Dawn, made by the same people, I think that's another game that you can play on your own and not really have any issues with. It can be, again, it's a bit jump scary, but apart from that, it's just sort of like, it's just a good game. It's just another good game that you can play that's horror themed. Resident Evil 5 and 6. Not the best Resident Evil games, but they are co-op from top to bottom. And if you want to just blast away some zombies or infected people or whatever, then that's another one that you can jump into. I think the trick, if you really, really hate horror games and you want to try and get into them, is playing with friends or similar. I used to have friends over or go to friends' houses when I used to, do sleepovers and stuff at school. And the goal for like that weekend would be, let's buy a horror game, take it in turns to play it, drink copiously, and just see if we can finish it. And that was the entire weekend. So it wasn't like, we're in the dark, you're on your own, and you're trying to get through this horror game. It's, let's experience this horror game. Because I think, it's certainly the case for me, even if you're not into horror games, I always had this morbid fascination with them. Like, I wanted to experience them, but equally, I didn't want the repercussions of experiencing
I
them.
feel that about horror movies, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like watching them, but I'm quite interested in them.
Horror movies is somewhere that I won't go, because in games, I feel in control. And even then, there are certain games that I wouldn't play. I wouldn't play PT, for example. I don't want to do that. I don't just want to be terrified. That's not a fun time for me.
Yeah.
But if I've got a friend there and we're just playing through a horror game that I want to experience, then that's different. So there you are. A few recommendations for you there,
ideas,
Samuel.
a few tactics.
But go watch that list that went out
good idea.
earlier in the week. Now it's time for us to move on, isn't it, Ashton?
It is. It's a section that we've never done before. And it's spooky. It's what we're playing. Ooh.
It's what we play in time. Time to talk about what we play in. Peter Austin, what have you been playing?
I have been continuing my way through God of War, which I am enjoying more and more the more I play it. I said this last time, but I'm just pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoy the actual gameplay. I'd never thought it would be bad, or, I even thought it probably will be better than average, but like I'm actively really enjoying the combat. The Leviathan axe is just the best thing. I just find it a lot of fun. And the story's interesting. I'm learning a lot about Norse mythology, which, I knew some stuff about it, but not a great deal. And I'm just finding that genuinely quite interesting. Every time there's a bestiary update, I always want to open that up and go, oh, what's going on here?
What's this?
Or some extra lore about the world. So that's all great. and definitely having a fair few of the obligatory Kratos almost doing a nice thing for his son.
Pet the son.
Yeah, and then
Pet
not,
the boy.
and then doing it, and then saying nice things, and then like telling him off like 10 minutes later for making a mistake. So it's all kind of quite what's the word? I don't know.
Magical.
Well, I wasn't going to say magical, but sure. No, it's there's stakes. You know, like I'm invested, is what I'm trying to say. I
Okay.
guess.
What do you think of the music?
Music's very good.
Yeah. Love the music.
Yeah, big fan of the music.
Soundtrack's amazing.
And I like the fact that you can the boat just goes where you want it to go, because most boats in video games are rubbish, and it just works. So that's good. And I've also played a little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ooh.
I've played about an hour of it.
Okay.
I've had a bit of a busy week, so I've not really had the time, but just enough for a first impressions take, in addition to what Ben's already done in our Quipscope.
Yes.
That's great. What a game.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to, well, I would be able to, but I'm not going to continue it now until I finish God of War. But I just wanted to have a little go.
Taste.
I get huge in a very good way. I get big, like, Uncharted vibes from it. There's a lot of, like, falling down, crumbling things, or dropping off pits and going like, oh crap, and you know, chatting to your friends. And
Uncharted, Jedi Fallen Order, Mass
Mm.
Effect. There's a lot of things that are mixed in there.
Yeah, but I mean, even just from a humor and I mean, well, it's Guardians really. As much as it's Nathan Drake and Uncharted, it's just it's Star-Lord and Guardians is what it is. But you know, when it's in a video game context, it kind of reminds me of playing an Uncharted game where, you know, you're kind of, you know, jabbing at your friends, and you kind of feel like you're getting through these areas through the skin of your teeth, and you know, like, you've got some skills and abilities, but also you're just bloody lucky that like that thing happened or whatever. So I think that's a lot of fun. It's nice not to be like either some super powerful machine who is like, you know, just been designed to be like awesome, cool video game character, and also to just like have someone who's like not taking everything so seriously as well. So I can't wait to play more of that. It's also very pretty, that game.
It is.
Not just in terms of graphical fidelity, but just design wise. I think the first area that you go to, like the first planet, or if you want to call it a planet, I don't want to be too spoiled. First location, yeah, sure, is very nicely designed, very pretty, very good to look at. So can't wait to play more, but I'm just going to finish God of War first. But it also has my recommendation, if that's worth anything to you. The man in the Spyro ones.
The Austin stamp of approval is on it.
Ashton.
I have only played one game this week, and it was Guardians of the Galaxy. I really like some bits of this game.
Yeah.
And I really can't get on, and I'm annoyed by other bits of the game.
Okay.
All I've heard from you guys is really positive things, and I wanted to go in with the mentality I was like, I'm going to enjoy this game. This game's going to be really good. I don't like the combat. I can't do it because I don't like the lock-on / aiming mechanic, in the sense of like you can only aim if you're aiming at something, and it kind of locks on. I was having issues with just like being able to shoot the thing I wanted to shoot. It was like, you want to shoot this one, and I didn't really understand how that worked. I also missed so many timed choices because I didn't realize they were timed. There's one bit after you get out of the first location where you have to make a choice between hiding one of two things. And I didn't realize it was timed, so I was thinking about it, and then I missed it. And I was like, no, I didn't realize, because I don't know if it was one of the first like timed ones in that conversation, but suddenly it was like counting down. I just didn't notice, so I missed it. And that's not the first one I missed, and it's not the last one I missed either. I also don't like the fact that you're walking at the same pace as the other character, but you get to the next bit before the end of your conversation, the conversation cuts off, and then you never get to finish that bit of the conversation.
Yeah, it's one of the issues I have.
I agree with
as
that,
well.
yeah.
I didn't really like that because I think I'm walking at their same pace, especially in the second location. You can only really walk at one pace and you can't run or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting to the next door and the conversation's just finishing midway through talking because they have another voice line they're meant to say now that you've got to this door. And also,
Yeah.
there was an area in the first location where you had to kill some little aliens, and I thought I'd killed them all because I couldn't see anymore. So I tried to jump out of the area and it kept spawning me back into the area because I was trying to leave before killing all the enemies and spawning the enemies on top of me to be like, no, they're here, see? So I kept getting like punched by these little enemies because I like was trying to kill them, and then my game bugged out and it just killed them for me. I didn't do anything. But I was really confused. Why would you let me leave if you don't want me to leave without killing these enemies? Why would you give me the option to jump out and carry on if you're going to just respawn me back in the room to kill the enemies? Those are the bad things I didn't like about it.
Yeah.
But, however, I really like that your conversations have consequences. I really like that the character, like non-playable characters, will comment on the things you do. So in the second area, I'm being led somewhere and the character's telling me about how they want more respect. And then I walked off to go and discover something secret down this area. And she goes, well, you don't even respect me. You're not even coming this way. And I was like, okay, I like that. Fair enough. I get it. And I like visually, it is very pretty. I'm playing it on the PS4 and it does have a couple of graphical issues on the PS4 in terms of like, it can be a bit fuzzy in places. And I kept having this one specific pixel on my game. And it's not on any of my other games, so I don't know. I didn't think it was my telly. That just was flickering the whole time I was playing. And I was really confused by why that was doing that. And the load times are obviously longer on the PS4 and stuff, but that's just natural thing of it's on a PS4. But I did really like it, and I like the conversation you can have on the ship, and I like the like dynamics of if you find something, you can have a whole new conversation and find out more lore. But if you don't find it, you just like obviously don't get that conversation. I like that you can talk to them on the ship, and like I say, it's a very pretty game, and the story is interesting, and I really like all the characters. They're like different enough from the Marvel Cinematic Universe ones where it doesn't feel like, I know you were saying in your Quipscope, it doesn't necessarily feel like they're just like uncanny valley situation. And I really like the way that they all look. I think Gamora looks great.
Yeah.
And I really like her character design. Obviously she's the one that I think looks most different than her MCU counterpart. But I am enjoying the game. I just don't like bits of it that I'm struggling to kind of, I think maybe also because I've been having a bit of a bad week, I was like, I don't want to play this because it's kind of annoying me, and I don't have the brain space to be annoyed. But I have enjoyed the story elements of it, and I have enjoyed the visuals of it.
I much prefer this Drax to the one from the movies.
Do you really?
Yeah, I find
He's smarter.
Batista's I find
smarter.
like, I know the character's meant to be this big like berserker, crazy, you know, a bit of a knucklehead, but I just find it a bit, well, it's not that I don't like it in the films, but I prefer this slightly tempered version. He's not just shouting all the time. And like, you know, he's still...
It adds to the conversation something that is like kind of useful, or like a bit of lore or something that you kind of find out.
And I like that he can just, rather than just be, you know, kind of amped up all the time, he will just talk conversationally, and it allows him to just be a bit alien and say like slightly weird things. Like he doesn't understand all of the social stuff, which you don't get as much with old Dave's interpretation. Because he doesn't chat as often. He shouts a lot more.
Yeah.
My honest recommendation to you would be regarding the timed conversations.
I was going to say, probably turn
and
it
the
off.
combat. There are a ton of accessibility settings, including stuff for lock-on.
Yeah.
So it might genuinely
I
be
was
a benefit
saying
to
that
change
last
some
night, to be
stuff
fair,
around.
when I was talking about it with my partner, because I was playing it last night and I was like, I'm going to bed, I'm very tired. And I was kind of saying that there's probably an option to turn it off, but I just noticed it yesterday because it was one of the things that was happening when I was playing. Yeah. So I was like, I can probably turn it off once I go and have a look. But yeah, those are the only things that, I mean, and like you say, you can turn them off. So
yeah.
but those are the issues I have with it. And I'm really sorry. because I know everyone liked it.
Snow.
It's funny because one of the other things I was going to say that I liked about it was being able to shoot over your shoulder while you're running back towards the camera.
There's an element of lock-on automatic.
Yeah, because some games still don't allow you to do that. You know, you have to either be running backwards like this, like literally running backwards and shooting forwards, but they'll shoot over their shoulder, which I just think looks better and makes more sense in terms of just that's how people would do it.
And it makes sense for Star-Lord's role in the combat as well, in that you can do basic damage to all enemies, but you're essentially just managing more powerful people who can do the real damage and do the real tactical stuff.
Yeah.
So you just need to be agile enough to evade being hit while also shooting and being able to issue commands and stuff like that. So I think it works. That is also what I've been playing, unsurprisingly. And I love it very much. Much like you with God of War, I'm reading every single thing that I possibly can. And I'm going to great lengths to try and experience as much of the game as I can in terms of going down all the side paths and trying to identify things in the environment, you know, switching my visor on to scan things to get additional information. I just love it. I think it's fantastic. There are obviously issues with it, as Ashton's highlighted, and it's definitely not going to be for everyone. But as a single-player superhero game with, at least so far, I don't know how it's going to conclude, but it's got an immaculate script in terms of the dialogue between these characters. Like it is very Uncharted in that sense. Like they're always talking about something, and it is really annoying. And it's one of the things I've identified as well, that dialogue often cuts off due to various reasons, and then you just don't hear the rest of it, which is really annoying. But it's, I don't know, it's just, as I said on Twitter, it's like they made it for me. It's fantastic. And I really am smelling the roses in that I didn't have a lot of time over the weekend to play any more of it. But there are, I think, 16 chapters, and I'm like on chapter 6 at the moment. So I don't want it to end. So I'm really, it's like what we talked about last week about the sort of the mental hurdle of starting a game you're excited for as opposed to just being excited for it.
Yeah.
Now that I've got it and I can play it anytime I want, part of me just doesn't want to play it. Part of me just wants to be in this space where I know that I have Guardians waiting at home. Do I play it? Doesn't matter. It'll be there the next day as well.
You don't want to
I don't want to finish it. Like it's really good, and I like it a lot.
I also really like. Sorry, I've just remembered while you're talking. No. I also really like that your actions have consequences, and even if it's like, I also like, and it's like a small dialogue line that will come up later on. Like when I forgot to make that choice, later on he goes, "Yeah, I just couldn't decide which one," and I was like, "Nice, I like that because I could decide, but didn't give me the time." But yeah, I just like the fact that you kind of see in like dialogue as well as the little purple boxes that come up at the top that tell you like, you know, this has happened, that your actions have consequences.
And it does make a difference as well. So I did manage to make that decision. Yeah. And as a result, the thing that I chose remained on the ship and was just present afterwards. So that was pretty nice. I like that. But yeah, I've been playing that, and I will be playing that probably for some time, unless this weekend I just completely lose all control and just binge it all in one go, get the platinum, and then never play it again. But the other thing I played is a bit more Far Cry 6 in co-op, and this week's fun glitch, as I was telling Peter, I got off an ATV that I was riding on the back, and my friend was driving. It pushed me through the wall of a building you're not allowed to get into, and then I was just stuck inside this cube that I couldn't escape from. It culled the textures on the inside, so it wasn't like the walls weren't textured on the inside. I could see out, but I couldn't get out. And because of the way I'm assuming the game cuts down on, you know, load times and stuttering and stuff, from inside my new prison, I couldn't actually, there was a very short render distance, so trees stopped loading in. When my friend on his ATV driving around went a certain distance, the ATV went out of existence as well. So he was just floating around like the crazy frog, like he was riding an invisible motorbike.
Ding, ding.
I couldn't escape. We tried various things. He parked the ATV right next to it to see if I could just get on it.
Through the wall.
But the only option I had was release brakes. And I could also repair it through the wall as well. You know, the little
Okay. Yeah,
blowtorch.
yeah,
I could just repair it through the wall. In the end, I had to use a Molotov and set myself on fire to escape. It just doesn't stop being broken.
Yes.
It doesn't stop. Went through the map again, and then I got too far away from my co-op partner, so it spawned me under the map as well. Brilliant. So good. I fell off the back of an ATV in a stream. Not a live stream, as in an actual stream with water.
Yeah.
Was pushed through the rocks and then drowned again in another prison that I couldn't, like some horrible nightmare. I was pushed through this tiny gap in the rocks and drowned in the water under the map. It's astonishing that this game it does something new every 5 or 10 minutes that I can't quite believe. And I don't think I'm ever going to stop playing it.
It just makes me sad because I know that if Beyond Good and Evil 2 ever releases, it is going to be so broken.
Well, a lot of people are concerned about the rumored Splinter Cell as well.
Yeah.
For this exact same reason.
Exactly.
Because this is
like
being
games
made
that
by
people
modern
want,
day Ubisoft.
But it's Ubisoft, so it's like, oh, for God's sake.
I don't know.
And I'll want to play it as soon as it's out, but maybe the smarter thing to do would be to just leave it a few weeks.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is getting loads of people to work on it for free.
Sure.
So it's coming.
Yeah. It's
you know,
happening.
it's got to be good if everyone who's working on it is working on it for exposure.
Loads of people think it's been cancelled because they're not showing stuff for it, but they keep hiring people all the time specifically for that game. So it's not been cancelled, but it will be broken
One of these days.
It's not been cancelled, but it will be broken.
Beyond Good and Evil.
It's broken. It's broken.
Time to move on to question 2.
Yes, this comes from Cameron Keyword. He says, "Hello, Bap.
But
You are now super massive."
bit rude.
And in
just for clarification, Supermassive, the developer of Until Dawn and the Dark Pictures
Supermassive
anthology, it
games.
wasn't it wasn't a Muse reference,
You are
and he wasn't
big.
saying that we're really big. No.
Yeah. And in charge of making the next 3 Dark Pictures anthology games, 1 each, what would be the location, name, premise of the game? Could be anything from a zombie invasion in Tesco extra stores across the country to someone in the office eating the last Krispy Kreme donut. Creative freedom is
Krispy
yours.
Kreme donuts in this office.
Jeez.
Thanks,
Joking.
Cameron.
Thing. All we've got
We
is
found out that down
Got
here
malted
they
milk
had
biscuits.
Biscoffs
They
down
had
here.
Biscoff. We got malted milk
I
upstairs.
saw it all.
mad.
I was watching the Slack as the discussion was happening, and I almost put, "Oh, hey guys, I'm in hospital today. Will someone please give us a biscuit upstairs?" And then they said, "Oh no, it came from Dan." And I was like, oh, "Okay,
Dan
I
brought
can't just guilt
Biscoff
him
from
in."
home.
Yeah. We have
did.
Biscoffs
We have
at home.
Biscoffs.
We
At
didn't
home.
get Biscoff. We had malted milk.
We've just got malted milk. Well,
And
we've got
so many pallets of Iron Brew.
and
I don't know
shortbread.
how this keeps happening.
It's because Fraser seems to have some kind of hold on.
there
this
are
world.
2 people in the office who drink Iron Brew.
Well,
the
I-
whole office, and we get as much Iron Brew as we do Pepsi Max that everybody drinks.
I wasn't sure whether to. So we got a message from Adam the other day saying, "I'm going to do an order for drinks and biscuits. Is there anything you want?" And Ben jokingly, and everyone in our office very much knew it was a joke, said, "Iron Brew."
Yeah,
Why
we're,
would you
we're
joke
running low
about
on Iron
that?
Brew.
And I nearly put a message underneath and said, "Just for clarification, that is a joke."
We got way too much
And now
Iron
we've
Brew
got
last
loads of
time.
And it's your fault.
So it's my fault.
Well, I don't know if it is, but it's possible that it's. That's your phone.
It's
actually.
fine.
That was my fault too.
Mm.
So yeah, just to be clear, we don't get Krispy Kreme here. We get pallets of soft drinks. People
that we
listening
don't
in,
like.
NHS hospitals and retail workers like, oh,
You get nothing.
you don't get Krispy Kremes, but you get your flipping soft drinks, do you? Oh, Iron Brew, free Iron Brew.
But also, NHS workers deserve respect, and they should be getting Krispy Kreme donuts whenever they want them.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying they don't.
Yeah.
deserve
No.
respect.
You were just
wasn't-
you're putting a mean voice on after
That
you
wasn't
said
what I was
NHS
saying. No,
workers.
it was a
so
mocking
just
voice. It
want-
was their mocking voice mocking us.
They're mocking us. That's what they're saying.
Right.
Of course. It was clear that I wasn't mocking NHS workers, right? Because I thought that
I
was
just
pretty
wanted to
clear.
make sure
But now I'm
people
worried.
like me who are thick that they knew that we weren't making fun of NHS work.
I'm
For
absolutely
clarification-
not making fun of NHS workers.
Just to be clear, down with the NHS. That's what I'm saying. They're all lazy. They don't do anything. No, it's all jokes.
They wouldn't give you a sandwich yesterday.
Oh well.
Point
I mean,
is-
that's the
It
real
wasn't
sin.
allowed on there.
Point is, we want Krispy Kremes in the office.
Yeah.
So,
So
what's your Dark Pictures anthology game?
I came up with the setting of a school.
A
school.
A school.
There
The
it
reason
is.
I was
Are you
hesitating
sure?
about the school is because I know we just played Outlast 2, and the bits that we hated were the school bits.
School bits, yeah.
However,
I hated most of the game.
well, yeah,
Didn't matter if it was in the
True.
school.
The
or
school was the worst
outside.
No,
bit.
the school was the worst bit. 100%.
I think a school could be an interesting setting.
Yeah.
If not done the way Outlast did it, where all the doors are locked, but you don't know which one's locked, and it's just god, I don't even want to open that hole. Don't get me started. But schools are creepy. They're creepy locations.
Yeah. Definitely.
Now, what I wouldn't want though is the obvious thing of it being a supernatural school. Not a supernatural school.
Hogwarts.
Yeah, no. But a school that's haunted, or there's a demon in the school or something like that, because I think that's just a bit much. And if there's one thing I don't like in video games, it's where you're walking around and like things are like flickering in and out of existence, and there's weird atmospheric effects. So you can hear sounds, but there's nothing happening. Like, I want an actual physical threat. I want like, Alien Isolation, something like that. Mm-hmm. So all I came up with at first was the location, and then I was like, what am I going to put in this school? I don't know. I don't know. And then I thought, there aren't enough scary dinosaur games, right?
Okay.
So there are somehow, I don't know how, there are somehow dinosaurs in this school.
Okay.
I think it's set in a slightly wacky world where slightly wacky world where a kid in the science department has invented like a time machine by accident. And that time machine has opened a portal that has allowed dinosaurs to come through. Right. Or, I don't know, it's set in the Jurassic World.
Is this a dream you have?
I'm obsessed that you can't get through the sentence without kind of making yourself laugh. Like, you've got that face on where you're like trying to hold it in.
Maybe it's set in the Jurassic World universe. Now, at the end of the second Jurassic World, all the dinosaurs got released.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a bit more
Spoilers.
compelling. Spoilers. So there's dinosaurs in a school. And as I say, I developed this bit by bit. First, it was like school. And I was like, dinosaurs in school. And then I was like, what name? Velocacademy, maybe? That's the closest I could get.
Velocacademy.
I spent a long time on a school/dinosaur pun, and that was all I could come up with.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really good.
There's that indie game, isn't there? Say Goodbye to Dino High or something coming soon. I'm not sure if that's out.
Oh, Dino High is pretty good.
Dino High. Well, that's taken.
Dinosaurs. No, that's not good.
Yeah.
If it's set in Britain and it's in a lower school for like years 1 to 6, it could be primeval school. Just like primary school.
Yes, Peter, it could be that.
But primeval.
It could be that.
Do you get it?
I do actually get it. So who do you play as?
You play as
a dinosaur.
You play as a dinosaur. You play as maybe a teacher who got locked in that night somehow. Or no, you're the caretaker. You're the janitor. Yeah, okay. You live on site, and there are noises happening at the school.
All the teachers live on site, though.
Yeah, well, they do.
They live in their classroom.
They sleep in the classroom at night. And you go in to investigate. And then maybe it's on a stormy night, and a tree gets felled and falls in front of the one door in and out of the school. Never mind the fire exits. Never mind the
buzzcocks.
Never mind the buzzcocks. Never mind the windows. I don't know. Maybe trees just fall all around the entire school.
Man.
Or maybe it's like Resi 1 and you can't go out because the dogs will get you. But they're not dogs. They're
school dogs.
They're dinosaurs.
Dino dogs,
yeah.
It would have to be that, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to keep this janitor inside the school.
You wouldn't.
So there's like loads of dinosaurs.
What if he's got
outside.
something on the hob in his room where he lives in the school?
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to burn it. He doesn't want to burn it. So he's got to stay there.
It's a work in progress. All I'm saying is there should be more dinosaur horror games
set in schools.
I mean, in this case, yes. But not necessarily.
What's the name of your game?
He told us.
Velocacademy.
Oh,
it's not the name of the school.
That's the name of the game.
Oh, I thought that was the name of the school.
That would be a bit fortuitous.
So the Dark Peaches Anthology.
If they happened to call
Velocacademy.
Yeah.
It would be a bit like nominative determinism, wouldn't it? I now open this school.
Yes.
Velocacademy.
I hope nobody invents a time machine.
No, that's the name of the school. Dark Pictures Anthology presents Velocacademy.
Good.
High.
Velocacademy
Dino Velocacademy High.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Primary school.
Brilliant. £30.
Yeah.
£30.
Ashton.
My Dark Pictures game is set on a city strip where there is lots of pubs and bars and clubs.
Pubs and bars.
Sounds good. Yeah.
And you play. So the name of the game is Dark Pictures Anthology Girls' Night Out.
Whoa.
And you play as a group of girls who are heading out on
You
the
play
town.
as a group of boys who are going to interrupt a girls' night out.
No, they're the bad guys.
They're always
So
the best.
Just like in real life.
Yeah, you've got a bunch of girls who are heading for a lovely night out, and you've got all of the types of girl on a night out. You've got the crier, you've got the flirty one, you've got the runner, you've got the one that's just hungry, and you've got the mum friend. Those are all the 5 people that you're
And
out
the one
with.
who's not drinking. Not because they're driving,
that's
but
the
just,
mum friend.
that's the mum
What
friend.
Yeah,
about the
she's
one
got the
who's like 3 kids in a trench coat? Where's that one? Is that one DLC or is that
That
one?
was DLC.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's just a cosmetic item.
Yeah.
The entire game plays out like normal, but your character just gets replaced with the 3 kids.
Yeah,
3 kids.
yeah.
It just
Suddenly
no one
sort of
addresses it.
wobbles
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the premise is you have to get through this night out, and you don't want to lose a friend, and you don't want to let the flirty friend go off with some
Right.
strange man. And all throughout the night, there's the added difficulty of men and or drinks being given to you. So gradually, as you go through the night, you get more and more drunk, and your vision becomes more and more blurry, and then things get more and more spooky. And then you win the game by managing to get all 5 of your friends home for the evening with a McDonald's.
I love / hate how true to life and genuinely threatening that situation is.
I was going to ask where's the horror, and then I realized,
Being a woman,
Yeah, just
being a woman, isn't it?
especially in this day and age, isn't it?
Oh,
With this
man.
week that we've
see.
had.
Do you have a name? Oh yeah, Girls Night Out.
Girls' Night Out. Yeah.
Dark Pictures.
Do you play as
Anthology,
you play it like everyone? You know how you can like play as multiple characters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's, like, different tropey
every character
characters,
has
yeah.
like you get a chance to play as them all. And if your character goes home with someone, or if you've got the runner friend and you just sprint and you end up lost, then you have to try and find your way back. Yeah.
Okay.
I really want to see the Dr. Anal Hill like middle bits with I'm having some gestures from Ben. He's gesturing towards this paper, so I might just pause there. And Ben, what's your game called? What's it about?
£30 for Girls' Night Out, yeah?
£30.
£30 and £30.
£30.
Okay,
Yeah.
and this one is £30 as
Okay.
well.
Okay,
So just
good.
so we know that you have to pay for these games,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because they're so good.
So good.
And so I present the final game in the Dark Pictures Anthology.
Yeah.
The Dark Pictures Anthology, Anal Hill. Mm-hmm. Now, if you don't know who Anal Hill is, he's the curator from the games. We've christened him Dr. Anal Hill.
I don't know how it happened.
I do. It was from Until Dawn, where there was a completely different curator, but he sort of had
Yeah.
very strange mannerisms, and it was really weird. I don't know where Anal Hill came from.
I think maybe his
though.
surname is it's like he's called Mr. Professor
Mound.
Plateau
Bum
or
Mound.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bum
Mound.
Mound.
So we said Hill, and then I think we just jokingly called him Alan for a bit, and then
Yes.
we like anagrammed it into Anal Hill. I think that's
So there we go.
something like
So we got there eventually. Dr. Anal Hill. Anyway,
I'm
is
gonna be
the-
honest,
is
I
the
had no
curator.
idea what you were talking about when you were doing that thing before, and I was just like,
You can always
okay.
ask.
that. Doing what
Yeah, but
thing
I didn't
before?
want to ask in case it was like a really stupid question that I just like
There are no
didn't
stupid
know of this
questions,
character
actually.
in the Dark Pictures Anthology.
There are
And
no
then when you were
stupid
like, I'll do a
questions.
Dr. Anal Hill bit.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
and I was like, what?
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
so tight.
Dr. Anal Hill.
Oh my god, yeah, do it.
So he's a mysterious character in the Dark Pictures Anthology.
Mm-hmm.
This would follow and explore the story of Dr. Anal Hill.
That wasn't a joke. You actually, that is genuinely.
Oh yeah,
what
of
you're-
course it is.
Oh, I thought you were just riffing off what Peter
No.
said. No. Oh,
No,
sorry.
For real.
Carry on.
Anal Hill is an established triple jump character.
Yeah.
Who is he? Why is he? Who does he work for? I've written a bit of a script treatment. There are some
Ooh.
gaps missing, though. So
Okay.
here we go. Dr. Hill was told stories growing up by his great grandmother that fueled his fertile mind. Sort of spooky stuff, Grimm's
What was
fairy
her
tales,
name?
that kind of stuff. She was called Mavis.
Hill.
Mavis Hill.
Okay.
Yeah?
Mona
Why'd you
Hill.
ask?
I'm just
Are you
wondering.
looking for a joke?
No,
or-
no, no. Not particularly.
Mavis
Wants all
Hill.
the detail. The
Doesn't
deep lore.
it doesn't the game won't even say. It'll just be like his
grandma.
grandmother.
Okay.
That's
Grandma
all we
Hill.
need to know.
Granny
Grandma
Hill.
Granny Hill. Yeah, Gran Hill. Joining the Royal Navy and traveling the world as a young man, he was stationed in a port town for a time, where local legends veered into the occult, the Lovecraftian.
Oh.
Are you with me so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His curiosity getting the best of him, Lieutenant Hill encountered an eldritch god whose service he's remained in ever since, doomed to wander the corridors of his spacious hell mansion.
Spaceship.
He lures in gullible viewers with tall tales that, much like this game pitch, are never quite clever enough to tie up all those loose ends or conclude satisfyingly. The people he regales in the hell mansion are unsatisfied, and maybe he marries the eldritch god. £30.
And I suggest maybe the Eldritch God is living physically inside his brain/face, which is why it almost does the right facial expressions, but not quite.
It's nice to have you back at the mansion.
Is
That's how he
it?
talks. Yeah, that's what he is.
Is it? Is it nice to have
I've got
me back?
another tale for you
Can't tell.
this time.
You're making progress, but... and it says something slightly...
Maybe not all is as it seems.
Yeah, it's meant to be a
Not
hint,
quick
but
enough.
there's absolutely no context to it, so you won't know until after you finish the
Maybe
game.
the boat will kill Ellie. Something really weirdly specific.
It might be time to light the fire of inspiration. What are you talking about,
It's too
Alan?
vague, Anal. You've got to do better than that. But yeah, I think we need to learn about Dr. Anal Hill. I feel like at some point in this series, if they don't start to explore it a bit more, I'll be kind of sad.
Yeah.
Really. But there we are. That's my pitch.
Great.
Good. Wow.
We're on question 2. How far are we through?
Let's move on to something a bit strange. It's called Weird News.
Okay.
It's weird news time. Time for some weird video game news. Peter, what have you got this week?
I have got a story that is... Yes?
What about the podcast producers?
Oh my goodness.
Do not normally do that now.
Well spotted. You're right.
Ashton, fantastic work. If you'd like to become a podcast producer and definitely not be forgotten in the running order of this podcast, you can go to patreon.com/Team TripleJump. Support us at a certain tier, the specified tier, with this reward. And we'll give you a shout out during the show. This week's podcast producers are Matt Barger,
Sean Legg.
Trick 24.
Evan Breidenbach,
Fred Cartwright.
Ellie Nicholas.
G.Y. Goliath in
sorry,
brackets.
sorry.
It's okay.
Ellie Nicholas.
Hutker 10,
Melody L. Bonnet.
Harrison Calnan.
Dylan,
Gabrielle Philippink.
Adam Dawson.
and Katie Jarrod, or Garrod. Thank you very much, podcast producers.
Thank you,
You're
producers.
wonderful.
You're
You
the
will
best.
never be forgotten
Sorry.
until
Sorry
the
about
next time you're
I
forgotten.
didn't forget you.
Ashton never forgotten.
Never. Ashton never forgets.
Ashton never forgotten.
So I was sent a weird news story this week by Gaseous Snake at I Did a Long Poo on Twitter. And one could argue, well, in fact, there's no debate. It's not video game related. It's pop culture related.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's a pop culture character that's been in a couple of video games, but it's not what they're known for.
Right.
But it reminded me, and is actually reported by an outlet, of a story that happened when I was younger to the person who owned the video game shop that I used to go to, right?
This sentence, yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
lost.
So I'll give you a quick overview of the actual news story, and then we're going to take you back in time to some weird old news that actually happened to someone I
Okay, so
vaguely
it's
know.
a spooky story that was based on a true story.
Sort of.
Based on a real
I'm
story.
so lost.
So here is a story that's just happened. Homeowner stunned as life-size Iron Man model sparks major emergency services response. Police and ambulance crews descended on a stunned homeowner's flat. This is
Okay.
written by Diane Bourne at the Manchester Evening News.
Okay.
So, a shocked homeowner was woken in the middle of the night by police and paramedics investigating reports of a man hanging in his window
What?
when it was actually a life-size Iron Man sculpture.
Hanging?
So, because it was so tall and it was like up against the window, so it was like sort of 8 or 9 feet off the ground. I think it
Right.
looked like a person was dangling from the ceiling.
Okay.
The man was asleep in his high-rise apartment in the city's West Tower when he was woken by a call from the concierge saying the police and ambulance crews were on their way up. The shaken dad was told they were investigating reports of a concern for welfare at his apartment on Deansgate Square. He let a team of 10 police and ambulance medics into the flat at midnight on Tuesday, but it soon became apparent that the figure... Photo.
Oh, I mean, that's quite
Okay.
scary looking.
It is, isn't it? It's very big.
Right, I see it. I see it.
I get it.
That the figure someone had seen and called police about was in fact his 9-foot-high figure of Marvel superhero Iron Man next to a window. The article continues, but I'm now going to tell you all about a different story, also written by the Manchester Evening News, from when I used to live in the Northwest.
Okay.
This happened to the man who owned the independent video games shop that me and Peter's gamer uncle used to go to.
Okay.
This is a true story.
Okay.
Cops swoop on Lara Croft dummy. Armed police launched a raid on a gunman who turned out to be a Lara Croft mannequin. They burst into a house in Duckenfield and pinned father of two David Williams to the ground, arrested him, and then held him for more than 13 hours.
Wow.
That was all the subheading. This is written by John Shearhout, crime reporter, in 2013. Armed police launched a raid on a gunman. It's all just repeating itself. Mr. Williams, 42, who owns computer game shop Duckenfield Consoles, had taken the 6-foot-tall display dummy home to sell on. Mr. Williams called police to complain about the nuisance phone calls he'd been receiving and a PC at his Astley Street address just after midnight. What? That doesn't make any sense. Mr. Williams called police to complain about nuisance phone calls he'd been receiving, and a PC called at his Astley Street address just after midnight. And it's believed he saw an outline of the £1,000 limited edition mannequin in the window. He called for backup, and armed police arrived and charged in. I was in the kitchen, and the statue was in the front room, said Mr. Williams. The police apparently knocked on the front door, but I heard nothing as I had the radio on. The back door was open, and I was on the telephone. The next thing, there were 4 police on the patio, and they dragged me out and threw me to the floor. I felt a foot in my back and a gun on my shoulder. They were shouting, "Where's the gun? Where's the gun?" I said I didn't have a gun. I was in shock. I didn't know what was happening. I told them they just got it wrong. They had the wrong house. And then at the police station, they came walking in with the mannequin. All the police were laughing their heads off. The officer who arrested me was getting a lot of stick. It was a disgrace. There was no need for it. They suggested I was trying to entice the police and that the mannequin's arm was moving. How can it? It's a mannequin, Mr. Williams said.
It's trying to entice the police.
Who is considering suing the police.
Come this way.
It's something you just don't expect.
Yes.
That article continues, but I will just read you the headline of a follow-up story that came not long after. They took the mannequin as evidence.
Lara Croft dummy comes to life, kills 3 police officers.
They kept it for a while. I don't know if it'll say how long.
That's not fair, is it?
No, I know it's not. They kept it as evidence, but headline, police returns Lara minus fingers.
Oh, come on.
A rare Lara Croft-sized model
sue.
seized by armed police who believed it to be a gunman has been returned to its owner with its fingers missing. And I don't know if the photo still exists, but I remember seeing a photo at the time where its fingers were broken off, but they weren't missing in that they were all put into a little plastic bag and given to him.
Oh my God.
So he had this really expensive 6-foot Lara Croft. All the fingers had snapped off.
Clearly intentional.
In the evidence locker, and then they gave the baggie with just 10 fingers in it.
Here's some fingers.
Yeah. So that's some real news that just happened, and some old video game related news that happened to the guy who owned our gaming shop.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
A trip down memory lane.
Wow, yeah,
Incredible.
absolutely.
Well, I have some weird news
Go on,
too.
Laura,
It's
tell
just
us
the
your
one
weird
thing,
news.
though.
Yeah.
And this comes from Harrison Clemens 6 on Twitter. And it comes from Destructoid. Hello. The headline is Super Mario Bros. Warp Pipe Pot Plants Anger UK Residents. The single biggest problem facing England is the subheading. The residents of English town Walsall have levied complaints at their local council over the implementation of 15 enormous plant pots, which bear more than a striking resemblance to the warp pipes of the Super Mario series. While this is obviously a positive boon to any city, some members of the always pleased British public are unhappy with the eyesores. According to local newspaper Birmingham Mail, the Walsall Council was asked to slash £29 million from its budget, which is leading residents to question why taxpayer cash has been splashed on the admittedly huge installations, which have been situated throughout this quiet market town. This is what they look like, by the way.
Oh, wow.
They are huge.
There they are.
They are massive. I'm lost. Rumours that running around Walsall
Do you have a date for this article, Ashton?
No. No?
No.
It's not going to be in the middle.
Is it at the top?
No. It's not at the top. And it's not at the bottom. Why?
There's been a terrible clerical error.
Why? Have you done this one before?
This story was submitted to us this week, despite being 5 months old.
Oh, is it?
And we covered it.
Did you know this as well?
I did know
And
this.
you didn't tell me before I started.
I was going to let you. I was just going to let you finish.
Can I read the last line? Because it's
course
really
you
funny.
Please do.
And then I'll just be quiet.
I thought about
No, Ashton, no.
the choice was to let Ashton finish or not let Ashton finish, and I thought, are we not just?
It reached a point where I thought I'm going to plead ignorance and pretend that I've never heard this before in my
Right.
life,
Thanks.
because it's already.
We will
gone
get the
too
comments
far.
though that like, we've already covered that story.
I'm sorry, I didn't
It's
know
not
this.
It's not your
your
fault.
fault.
We don't expect you to have
Harrison!
listened to.
No.
Harrison betrayed you. That's what happened.
The last line of
Please
this
read the last
article
line.
is, we reached out to Bowser Cooper for comment, but all he offered was don't vote Tory.
What?
Wow, that's a weird
That's
ending
the
to
only
that
reason I
article.
picked this
Well, I'm
article.
glad you brought that along. Please,
Sad face.
when you're submitting weird news, just check that it's like not. Well, firstly, that we never covered it before, if you're able to perhaps check that. And secondly, that it's maybe happened within the last couple of weeks. Unless Lara Croft was in someone's house in 2012.
Only
There
specific
was, I
instance
think
where it's
someone
okay.
did submit an article that was from the CBBC news
Yes,
yeah.
from 2002 that I saw. But
Mr. PlayStation 2.
yeah.
It's not news. I mean, it was news at the time,
It's old.
but it's not. Yeah, it's old. So don't submit CBBC articles from 2002, I think.
We thank you very much for submitting your weird news.
Thank you.
It helps us out immensely across social media.
He just mugged
but,
me off big style.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ashton's got egg on her face now. So. You okay, Ashton?
Yeah, I'm okay.
It's actually not a problem at all.
No,
you
it's
know
okay.
that, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not.
Okay.
But for future reference, would you rather we let you carry on, or would
No,
you
no.
rather I said Ashton?
The annoying
I
thing
don't
was
know.
is that when
Done
you were
here.
downstairs getting stuff set up for a stream we're doing later, Peter and I were loudly discussing this news story.
Yeah.
So
You
if
knew
were-
before
if you
the
were there-
podcast, and you didn't say anything before
I didn't know
I
you were
came
doing
in.
that weird news.
I knew you'd said it was your news was Super Mario related, but I didn't make the connection.
I didn't know you were doing that news story
until you said plant pots, and I was like, oh no.
Peter and I both just sort of,
Oh,
We glanced at each other.
Oh, no.
oh man, we were just talking about how old this news story was.
Ben, have you got some weird news?
Yeah. You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Do you need a minute?
No, I'm fine.
You're not fine.
I'm not
Well,
cold
that-
anymore. I was a bit cold
That
now.
never
but now
means
I'm
that you're
warm.
fine.
No, I'm
Nobody
fine.
says they're fine if they're fine. My news story is from Michael Milan at Lord of Penguins on Twitter. And this story is from IGN. And it's from the 26th of October. Well done, Michael. Thank you.
2021.
2021, 2002. It's by Logan Plant. And the headline is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Idris Elba's Knuckles will not be sexy.
What?
Boo.
The Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie. Idris Elba.
Have you watched the first one?
No.
Have you watched the first one?
We read the
No.
book.
We read the book, though, yeah.
I have to watch it.
He's playing Knuckles. It won't be sexy, apparently. Idris Elba says Knuckles is it Echidna?
Yeah.
Echidna will not be sexy in the upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog movie sequel. Speaking to Scream Rant about Knuckles' characterization in the film, Elba said, honestly, I cannot say. Contractually, I cannot say anything. But I wouldn't say that he was sexy. I don't think I'm going for that. That's for sure.
What was the feed question there? Is he sexy? Idris, is he sexy in this film?
Well, there is
Honestly, I can't say.
there's a tangential relation there in that Elba was named People's Sexiest Man Alive in 2018.
And Knuckles was the second sexiest man alive.
Yes, but he comes second every year.
Yeah.
Because he's thoughtful.
Yeah, it's because he's not technically a man, so they can't put him first.
No, that would be illegal.
World's sexiest echidna, for sure.
100%.
He's known for commanding the screen in shows and movies, including The Wire, Luther, and more recently, The Suicide Squad. This has led fans to speculate Elba will bring that same appeal to his animated counterpart. However, we now know not to expect Elba's trademark sex appeal when he voices Sonic's best frenemy,
How's he
at
gonna turn
least
it
on
off?
purpose.
How's he going to turn it off, though?
I don't know. Maybe he'll do that thing that they make.
Hi, I'm Knuckles!
Well, I was going to say maybe they'll make him do that thing that for some reason they make all women do in superhero movies, where they make them like wear glasses and
Oh,
ill-fitting
yeah,
jumpers.
yeah,
Do you remember?
yeah.
And then they let their hair down.
She's
It's
not
like,
sexy.
She was
She's
beautiful
got a
all
ponytail and
along.
glasses on.
Yeah.
That nerd.
Maybe what will
So
happen
maybe he'll
is,
wear a ponytail and glasses.
Yeah.
I think they might release the trailer, and when people see CG Knuckles, there will be uproar on social media, just like the first one, saying he's not sexy enough,
He's not
and they will
sexy
go back and change the model.
It'll be.
Make him
They'll push the
sexy.
delay.
A big
They'll push the
bunda.
movie by like 6 months. Give him the biggest bunda, and that'll be great. You'll hear him chafing from miles away as he runs at great speed. While Knuckles has never been known for his sex appeal, he's arguably at the top of his game when he's romping around Pumpkin Hill to the iconic and endlessly memed Pumpkin Hill rap soundtrack. Conversely, Knuckles fans weren't head over heels for his Sonic Boom redesign, which saw him become much larger and much less intelligent. We'll have to see where on the scale Elba's portrayal of Knuckles lands.
Indeed.
Excited.
So there we are. Don't look out for sexy Knuckles. You okay? You just shivered there.
Yeah, I'm a
Were you
bit
thinking
chilly.
about sexy Knuckles?
I'm really warm, to be honest.
I was thinking about sexy Knuckles, and I just had a full body quiver.
ASMR.
Oh.
You're wearing a full body quiver.
I am.
Yes.
I'm cold.
Why doesn't Lara Croft wear a jumper? She's got to be freezing all the time.
Well, when you play the game, she does tend to like have a winter coat on. But
Does she?
yeah.
I would
Well,
suggest
she makes it out of like wolf.
Wolf.
makes it out of wolf.
made
Yeah,
out a
wolf.
wolf.
Walrus.
I would say we could put the heating on or something, but
It's
I am
okay. You
already.
guys are both wearing multiple layers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could put my jumper on.
Just put your jumper on. Lara wears a jumper. In...
Spider-Man is warm.
I can't bother to
Some
put it all the way
gamer.
on, so I'm just going to wear it like a blanket, like I was doing earlier.
Okay.
Okay.
Like a totally normal hoodie.
A snood.
That's how you wear them. Let's move on to question 3.
Let's. It's from Thomas Allison. 2 first names, who says, "Hello, Ben, Peter, and Ashton. My question is about different kinds of scare tactics games use to be spooky," it says in quotes. "Is there any type of spook you find irritating rather than spooky? For example, I find constant jump scares accompanied by a musical sting just annoying and not at all scary. Doom 3 and the first Outlast game come to mind. However, Alma from the first Fear has literally haunted my dreams since the game came out. The atmosphere and clever way the game went about its scares really got to me. It's honestly one of my favorite FPS games for that reason." Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Alison. I completely agree. Jump scares are just stupid. They're the worst thing ever.
Yeah, they're really annoying.
Same in movies. I really despise it because, yeah, it scares you in the sense that it makes you jump. It startles you. But it's just so cheap, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well done. Well done. You made me go, because of a natural bodily response that has been programmed into me over millions of years of evolution to go, oh, a sudden thing.
I get startled by car horns sometimes.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it a horror
No.
situation.
Yeah.
It's just makes you jump.
I got started by a dishwasher in the
Yeah.
office, so it's not hard
Did
to make
you?
me jump. Yeah, after I was streaming a horror game and I was the
Oh,
last one
no.
in the office.
Sounded like
The
a dog.
dishwasher made a big gurgly dog sound. I thought, I'm about to die. Someone's followed me in and they've got a rabid dog and they're going to kill me.
I messaged Ashton that night because the exact thing happened to me and Amy once in our kitchen. In our old place, we had a dishwasher. And I was just standing there next to Amy and the dishwasher was on. And suddenly it gurgled. And I physically went like that. And I was ready to like...
You're gonna punch it.
I was going to punch this. I was like, an aggressive dog is in my house and it's just me and my partner.
I'm gonna punch this dog.
I'm going to have to
Punch
do
this
something.
dog.
I'm gonna have to punch this dog.
I'm sorry, I'm
we
going to have to
now-
punch this dog.
Whenever we hear a gurgly drain, whether it startles us or not, we just refer to it as the dog.
The dog.
The dog.
Oh, the dog's here.
Excellent.
So jump scares are rubbish.
Yeah.
I
Remember
would.
that noise I made during Outlast when I got scared?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, what was
I
that?
made the pufferfish sound.
It was a great noise.
It was a good noise.
But what I do like, to answer the other part of the question, the kind of scare that I do like, I really like stylized horror. I like your kind of Burton-esque. I really like Little Nightmares.
Yeah.
I don't only like that, but that sort of thing. I think if you can create horror in something that isn't photorealistic and you can still scare me, I think that's impressive. I think if you've got like, creepy monster designs and interesting monsty designs.
If you
I
could
beg
use the
your
correct
pardon.
term, please.
Yeah, and just doing things via the use of like sound effects and stuff, like ambient noise. I think it was very clever the way they did it in the likes of Resident Evil 7, where you'd be walking around that house and there were so many creaks and groans that they'd put into that game that every time you heard one, it sounded like a new sound you'd never heard before. And that alone, I thought, was like just really effective. It wasn't jump scare in and of itself. You weren't going like, "Oh, that was the scariest noise I've ever heard." But it was just, "Oh, what was that? Is someone in here?" So those are two things I really find impressive. Just sound design, especially like ambient noise, and then I really love things like Little Nightmares, Limbo, Inside. I know they're not horror games, but that kind of stuff I think is enjoyable as well as scary. And I think that there's something to be said for that, to actually find something engaging and interesting as well as frightening. Ashton?
So I played the game Visage on stream the last couple of weeks, and I think that game does it both really well and really badly in terms of horror games. So before you see the actual like ghoul that's chasing you around, you gradually kind of encounter more and more things that make you jump, like the lights might go off or the door slams behind you, or it will like something will appear on the screen that's not actually there because your character, the more you're in the dark, is going more and more insane and struggling more with like what's going on. And the way that it does certain things in terms of like forcing you to get into a cupboard where your back's turned from the rest of the room and knock on a wall, knowing that something's going to knock back, it's really good. And I really found that game really scary up until the point where I saw the monster that was hunting me.
Right.
Up until this. But I think that's always the thing that I think a lot of games do, is show you the monster too much. Like you don't get kind of like glimpses or like, oh, what was that in the corner of your eye? You get like, here's the monster. This is what it looks like. This is what's following you around. And Visage was really spooky until I saw the monster that was chasing me, because it happened quite early on, and it wasn't scary anymore. And then it did the thing of like, you're dead again, and kept just jumping in my face. And I'm like, you're not scaring me, you're annoying me now. Like I'm frustrated because I keep dying, not because I keep getting scared by this monster.
Like the
Jaws effect. I was just going to say
exactly.
those exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I think when they show you too much too early, and then you kind of just know that you're not scared anymore, because it is that like, what's coming? What's the thing that's hunting me? Why am I in this situation, and why am I scared? Is the thing that games and movies sometimes do really well, like with Resi 7, but sometimes just blow it for themselves because they just show you outright what it is that you're being scared of.
The scariest part of most horror games is like, I would say, the
unknown,
opening. Yeah, like when you've arrived at whatever it is, the haunted house. Dead Space, I think, has one of the most tense and unnerving openings of any horror game I've ever played. Especially when you've not played it before, you don't know exactly what is actually happening. If you played it before, it has less of an effect. But you're just walking around this place. It's been absolutely like painted with gore, and you're encountering sort of strange bits of evidence of stuff, and then you walk around the corner and there's a guy just banging his head against the door because he's gone mad with what he's seen. And, that's terrifying. And yeah, the game does actually continue to be scary throughout, but definitely just the atmosphere of your arrival, I think, is definitely the scariest part.
Yeah.
And the same I thought with Resi 4, even though you do immediately encounter the zombies or the Ganados, between like getting out of the car at the beginning and making it to the village, there's just something, you just don't know what you're up against. You just see these people and you've encountered them, but you don't know why they're after you. You don't know what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And it's just the unknown. And then, the more you learn, the more you see, the less scary it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think when it's just, they show you everything too early on, it kind of takes away a lot of the scary element of it. It kind of becomes a bit more, like you start to laugh at it because you just know what's coming.
Outlast 2.
Yeah,
Hamstrung
Outlast
itself
2.
by that ridiculous enemy that looked like it was dancing when it was coming after him. So much so that whenever we would encounter it, we wanted to get a good look at it.
Yeah.
Like it became a point of humor rather than something to be afraid of, which is its own fault because it didn't need to show us it.
Yeah.
It could have just been, because it rose up out of the floor and came out of the walls at various points. It could have just done that, but it was sort of like a you need to run right now situation. So you never really got to see what it was. But they didn't.
Yeah, a couple of times it would just start you off just literally just looking at him.
Yeah, whenever
like
you respawn, you were always looking at whatever was after you. Yeah.
It's like, oh, hiya. Just
There
standing
he
on
is.
the stairs just waiting for you to move.
Doing
so
a
it can
dance.
Move. Yeah.
Stupid. Dark Pictures Anthologies.
Yes.
That was hard to
You
say.
got there, it's okay.
Dark Pictures Anthologies. Loud jump scares are the worst. I really dislike them. Having played Little Hope a few times now, that game, I think more than any other horror game I've ever played, so clearly telegraphs when there's going to be a jump scare.
Yeah.
The camera is no longer in your control. It's slowly zooming in on something. Like sometimes just really abstract stuff like a fence or a bush. And the music fades down, and then it's like, okay, where's the... And it's okay, there it is.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming. You clearly signposted that it was coming.
But even if you know it's coming, it makes you jump. But that doesn't
And it's like,
necessarily
oh,
be
for
like,
God's
I'm
sake.
scared. It's just
But
like,
they
I've
do
jumped.
it constantly. It's
Yeah.
like one trick that they pull over and over again for that game's entire runtime. Any time it goes into first person, you're like peering through a hole or looking into a room. It's like, right, where's the jump scare? There it is. Okay,
Yeah.
great, cool. No, had no idea that was coming.
There's one in Condemned, or it might be the second Condemned, that I thought worked really well. In that game, you're using detective tools, and you use like UV torches and stuff, and follow trails, and then you have to take pictures and send it to the lab. And the number of times in that game you zoom in on dead bodies with this camera, and you are convinced that at some point one of these bodies are going to turn towards me and it's still alive. And it does eventually do that, but it's like way, way later on. And you're under the impression by that point that, if they were going to do that, they would have done it ages ago. And then it happens like 2/3 of the way through the game. And it really got me, but it wasn't signposted at all in that like you're doing something that you've done a million times by now.
Yeah.
And you thought, the first couple of times you did it, you were like, oh, this is going to happen. And it never did.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel cheap. They don't constantly do jump scares in that game. So
They like pick your times.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the real trick, I think, is playing with people's expectations.
The suspense of it all is the scary.
Yes. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? That thing you just mentioned.
Yeah.
There was one in, I think, The Last of Us Part 2, where you're exploring this area. I can't remember specifically where it was, but nothing happens the entire time you're there. And there's no music. Like, there's very little dialogue at all. It's just Ellie going around this place. And I was like, something is going to happen.
Right.
Here. And the entire time I was really on edge and nothing happened the entire time. I was like,
Everything is actually fine.
Like that bit from Resident Evil with the door opening animation. There's a zombie behind it. Just once in the entire series.
Yeah,
they only do it once. It's never do it again. That's the only time they did it. And I think that's very clever.
Yeah, it is.
One thing I both like and dislike is when your torch goes out or the lights go out in the game. Because not only is that really effective because the dark is scary and you have no control over it, but also it can be quite annoying, especially if it's shake the controller to make the torch work again, and then it just becomes kind of annoying. But if it's a scripted bit, then it makes a bit more sense.
Yeah.
I would say one thing that hasn't gotten old is, as you were talking about earlier, Peter, effective sound design.
Yeah.
So the music dropping away, just sort of only ambient sounds in an environment really, really puts you on edge because you're either building up to something spooky or you're not. And again, to pull from The Last of Us Part 2's playbook, when you're in the basement of that hospital.
I was thinking if it was the basement of the hospital you were talking about.
And this also plays into what you were saying about not showing the monster until it's
late.
ready to show you. Yeah, so you're going through this whole bit in the basement of a hospital, and there's the trail of destruction left by this big horrific thing.
Like the start of Dead Space. You just something has happened here. Yeah.
And you don't know when it's going to happen, but it strings you along for like 10 or 15 minutes of no real sound feedback at all apart from just the noises you're making going around, and it's horrible. I was on edge and so uncomfortable the entire time.
Every time you go through a door or turn a corner or interact with anything, you're convinced this will be it, and it's not.
It's never it.
Yeah.
And then after like maybe the third time where you've gone, you're like, nothing's going to happen. Then
And you're like, I think just sound design is so important, and there's no like, if there's combat music in games, right? And then if that starts up, you're like, okay, I know what to expect. I'm gonna be in a fight now. But some games are very clever when they don't do that.
Yeah.
And they just leave it, and then something starts attacking you. You're like, this isn't right. This isn't what I signed up for. I didn't agree to this. This isn't part of the rules, the video game rules.
Yeah.
But yes, I think it makes a huge difference.
I also think horror generally, whether it's games or films or TV, sometimes just less is more in terms of monster design or like, Monsty, I beg your pardon. I don't necessarily want to be up against something that's got like 6 arms and like is made of just red raw skin and stuff like that and makes horrible noises. Like sometimes it's way scarier if it's just a person, but they're like, their head is like constantly up and they're walking towards you.
Yeah, they're wrong. Or like
something's wrong.
Just something strange about the way they move or even just the way they speak sometimes can be. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Knuckles.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, I'm Knuckles.
Yeah, definitely.
Wonderful. Well, it's time to move on. You enjoyed that, didn't you?
I did.
It's time to move on to the big discussion.
Big discussion.
Oh, big discussion. It's big discussion time. Time for a big spooky discussion. This big discussion comes from... No, not Thomas Allison. My page is wrong.
Robert Mansell.
I'm reading them. We just did Thomas. Robert Mansell. Thank you, Robert. Hey, Burp. You're the best content creators in town, and I'm loving
like
all the... Because it's fun. Try it.
Bap.
Burp. And I'm loving all the new post-apocalypse COVID content you're creating. Is that the reason you chose this as the big discussion? Because there were so many compliments right off the bat.
It's very nice.
There's normally lots of compliments, to be fair. Everyone's very nice.
Okay.
So, no, that's not the reason, actually.
So don't think that you'll be able to get into the big discussion by
Sorry, Lara.
But maybe you might.
Dear Ben, Peter, and Ashton, who I really like.
You have expressly said that compliments will get you everywhere.
Compliments will get you everywhere,
in the question submitting game. Anyway, the question. Are there any horror-esque franchises you think would translate well into a game, like a movie or a TV series? I think a Terminator game in the vein of Alien Isolation would be awesome, where you're chased by an unstoppable force and have to use your environment and equipment just to slow it down. Love to hear your thoughts. I'd love the whole team. Rob.
Kiss.
To be fair, this question was submitted by, I think, 3 people. Very similar questions.
Okay.
But this one just...
Rob was the nicest.
Rob put
the
kisses
most
on.
concise.
The more kisses you put on,
Yeah.
the higher the chance.
The higher the chance.
Peter,
good kiss.
what non-game franchise would make a good game?
I've got 2.
Horror-wise.
I have sneakily, I saw on Ashton's answers that she's put one of the ones that I've put. So I'll say that second and won't say much about it. But other than that one, I think that there could actually be something in a sort of Dead Rising style game of Gremlins 2, The New Batch, right?
Oh,
so Gremlins 1
that's
is
a good
certainly a bit spookier than Gremlins 2. There are some genuine, slightly like, weird moments in it that take you by surprise. Gremlins 2 is not a scary film. It's like basically a comedy, but with just some monsters in it. Monsties. I would maybe by the end of the podcast I will say monsties off my own volition. But if you kind of lifted from both of those films and took the setting of Gremlins 2, which is a really interesting setting for a film or a game, and some of the slightly more horror-ish stuff of Gremlins 1. Not a scary film, but, it sort of qualifies.
No, I've seen Gremlins 2, obviously, as have we all. But in case someone hadn't seen Gremlins 2.
Right.
Where
I was about to tell you.
Just in case.
Because we've obviously
because we've all seen
watched it.
Yeah.
But if we hadn't...
No.
What is a gremlin?
Don't worry, I'm about to tell everyone everything. So you got a little mogwai. It's not a yaogwai, which is off of the Fallout. It's a mogwai. He's called Gizmo.
I had a Gizmo toy when I was a young'un.
That's inappropriate,
Like
isn't
a
it?
Furby.
You sure it wasn't just a
Gizmo's
Furby?
the cute one. No, it wasn't. It looked like Gizmo. I'll show you.
And there are 2 rules when you've got a Gizmo. You don't get them wet, as it were.
Oh, that's quite
It's
nice.
quite cute, isn't
And
it?
you don't... Oh, there he is.
There he
And you don't feed him after midnight.
Okay.
If you get a Mogwai wet, little fur balls fire out of their back, and then they turn into more Mogwais.
Sounds like a
Mogwais.
brilliant sort of financial
So that's how they multiply.
decision. Yeah.
If you
Sell
feed
those.
them after midnight, and I don't know what the cutoff point is where you can start feeding them again, sunrise, I guess.
Yeah.
If you feed them after midnight, they turn into gremlins, which look a lot worse and scarier. They're bigger. They're
Not
just
furry, are they?
they're green and scaly. They're evil. They have sharp teeth and red eyes, and they're kind of chaotic and murderous, really.
Oh dear.
Look at them.
Wow, look how tall
we
they
go.
are.
Yeah. it's
So
just
they're basically
Little
Muppets,
lads.
but they're bad.
Okay.
And evil. But Gremlins 2 is set in this huge skyscraper that's got science labs in it. It's got like, I think, a casino. It's got shops and things. So it's very Dead Rising. It's got all of
Okay.
these interesting locations and rooms and spaces and equipment that I think would lend itself really well to, all right, not a super spooky game, but just a kind of a tongue-in-cheek Dead Rising style game. So there are swarms and swarms and swarms of gremlins. There are loads of them in Gremlins 2. And I think you should just have to go around sort of killing them and...
Not getting them wet.
no, not getting them wet. Definitely not.
Fire.
Or maybe maybe not like entirely like Dead Rising, which is mostly just about going around and killing zombies, but maybe just add a bit of a story to it as well. So you've got certain objectives. You have to save your friends and got some character development. I think there's something there. But the other one, and I'll leave this to Ashton, that I think would make an excellent horror game is Jurassic Park.
Yeah. So when I saw this one, I also thought Jurassic Park, but I have to give a shout out to someone who submitted a question. I think it was Robert Major who also said, I
Richard
think
Major?
Jurassic Park. Robert, what did I say?
You said Robert. Is it Richard?
Richard Major?
Sorry.
We know Richard Major.
Sorry.
He's a major. He's in the armed forces anyway.
Major, who also said Jurassic Park, but I have written it down anyway. I think it would be really fun because Jurassic Park, the first one, is the only one I've seen, and there's a bit where they're like in a kitchen, and there's one of the dinosaurs is like walking around.
A couple of them, I think. Raptors.
Trying to get, because is it the kids that are in the kitchen and they're trying to get out of the kitchen where
Oh,
these dinosaurs are. And I think that's so scary. So I would imagine that like the first Jurassic Park game, because it's all set at night and it's all a bit spooky, I think would make a really good horror game in the sense of like, not that it was a very good horror game, but like Blair Witch in the sense of like you're in a forest and you know there's dinosaurs around and you can kind of hear them and you can't tell exactly like where they are, would be very spooky. Also, the film World's End, which is part of the Cornetto movies,
Yeah.
that's not as good as Shaun of the Dead, but the premise of it is the sense that these aliens have taken over these people, so they look like people, and the only reason they know that they're aliens is because there's something slightly off about them. And the sense of knowing who is an alien and who's not an alien, and having to kind of get to this end point to try and stop it, but having it kind of, I suppose it could be kind of Left 4 Dead-ish, but also could definitely be quite a spooky game if you're kind of going through and your enemies are just people, but you can't tell who is people and who's not people. Would be quite fun,
That would be
I
good.
think.
Sounds good. I like
So
it.
those are mine.
A Dino Crisis style Jurassic Park game, I think, would be really cool.
Yeah.
If they,
Just having to survive in the park.
if they really went for horror and not action, because Dino Crisis was in some ways it was a bit action heavy, but if they turned it into a proper survival horror game with spooks and limited resources and good jump scares, surprises, Resident Evil style ones, then that could be genuinely really cool.
Yeah.
It's a shame that it's a franchise for kids, isn't it?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we might get that. But certainly, there's a lot of Dinosaur Park. You could just make a Dinosaur Park game, right?
Yeah.
Other developers, you could just do that. You don't need the Jurassic Park license.
Maybe Capcom one day will do remakes of those.
Veloz Academy.
Academy, yeah.
Fingers
Come on,
crossed.
Capcom. I will sell it to you for
Give us a
£30.
Veloz Academy, please.
Yeah.
I've got Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
There was
Did
a
they make a
Telltale
video
game. There have been a couple of video games, but they're not.
There's been a
Very
Jurassic
good.
Park one.
No, yeah, there's been a Jurassic
That's
Park
true,
Telltale
yeah.
game too. There was a Telltale Stranger Things game in development, and some footage came to light, I think, earlier this year or last year. It was cancelled, unfortunately. But I think that game, that TV show even, and, you know, it feels like a lifetime since the 3rd season aired. And it's going to be another lifetime until the 4th season is out. But certainly, season 1 and 2, watching those and being able to binge all of them back to back and have them be episodic and end on cliffhangers and then immediately pick up again. The only thing I could think when I was watching it was, man, I would love to play this in an episodic style. And it's such a shame that I know Telltale are back now in a different form. But it's such a shame that they went under, because I think so many games and properties, or not games, but so many properties and franchises, especially movie and TV, translate so well to that episodic format.
Yeah.
And they've got largely a pretty good track record. Yes, the Game of Thrones game wasn't very good, but it wasn't terrible. Like,
The
it wasn't.
Walking Dead game was really good.
The Walking Dead game was really good. The Borderlands game was excellent. They did so much good stuff that I can't help but feel that Stranger Things, or indeed any other multitude of episodic games, maybe even Squid Game more recently, as an episodic Telltale choose your own adventure, make dialogue choices and difficult decisions, it just works so well. I think it would just work so very well. And I'm kind of sad that the Stranger Things game was cancelled. But Netflix has its own games arm now.
Yeah.
They purchased. They got now purchased. They've purchased, what are they called? Is it Day Night Studios? I can't remember what they're called. The people that made Oxenfree and After Party and stuff. They own them now. So, you know, maybe they do something with Stranger Things that isn't some sort of crappy top-down twin stick thing or mobile game. I'm not even sure what they did for the Stranger Things game, but
I think it's on Xbox Game Pass, but
I want this.
don't know, Chief.
I want this. If you're translating things that have big stories, do it in format where you can do big stories easily.
That's how I feel about, it's not a franchise, and it would be incredibly disrespectful to say so, but like late 1800s, like murder detective stuff,
right? Like, so, historical, like Jack and his,
for example,
Rippings.
Jack and the Rippings. I mean, some people say, you know, you shouldn't like take the actual murders of 5 real women and turn them into a form of entertainment, but you could do an equivalent that's set around the time, you know, 1880s,
fictitious
parallel.
There was a half decent film. It wasn't very mainstream. It was called the Limehouse Golem, starring Bill Nighy. Which was quite interesting, and that was, you could tell it was meant to sort of be about Jack the Ripper or that kind of thing. But
give us an anthology horror series where you are a period appropriate detective in various locations,
exactly,
and time
yeah,
periods throughout the world, and there's some spooky murderings going on. You have to get to the bottom of it in like a 3 or 4 hour game.
Like Heavy Rain.
Yeah,
I'd play that.
What I was going to say was, I feel that way about that whole, you know, scene in that it's been covered before in games, but never really in a AAA form. You know, there are quite a few indie games that are set in some kind of Victorian London, or, you know, they might be sort of My First Unity Project style things, or they might be more like text-based adventures, which some people really like. I'm not so keen on that. I want like a AAA, either third person or first person world for me to wander around in, you know, go into like, you know, opium dens and in pubs and boarding houses and down alleyways and stuff, and just be a detective. I think that'd be really cool.
I just remember what I was thinking about. Syndicate, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, they had a Jack the Ripper DLC.
They did. I never played
that
it.
was quite spooky, actually. It was quite scary. We played it from Elizabeth's, what did we say her name was? Eliza?
Evie. I remember.
Yeah, thanks. I think it's from her perspective. And yeah, apparently it's really good. It's quite, well, I don't know if it's really good. Apparently it's good.
I didn't play it because it looked a bit strange, because he was all like, he had his face all wrapped up. And
yeah,
he
it
looked
was
a bit
like a bit more like horror. They kind of horrified.
Took a lot
him
of
bit
license
more.
with it, yeah. And I looked at that and I thought, it's not quite what I want out of that.
Have you tried the Sherlock Holmes games?
No, I've not.
There was at least one of them on Plus a while ago. They're meant to be. They definitely have a following. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not going to be your AAA experience.
Oh,
No.
yeah, they
They
were
are.
all on offer on Steam recently. Cause
Right.
it was
Might
a
be
new
worth.
one.
Might scratch that itch.
It might
itch
do.
that scratch for you.
The Order as well was sort of.
Yeah, I liked the Order a lot.
It's
Such a
very
shame.
linear and it doesn't give you a sprawling open world to explore. But, that whole vibe, I think, is a really interesting setting, whether or not it's supernatural with werewolves.
Or good.
good.
Or even good.
Yeah.
Well, there we are. There's some suggestions from us about some cross-pollination of spook franchises to spook games, potentially. Let us know yours, of course, in the comments below, as well as your thoughts on the other things we've discussed today. What non-horror fancy dress are you going to do for Halloween?
Yeah.
Peter, where can people find us?
We are Team TripleJump. Hello. You can go to youtube.com and twitch.tv/Team TripleJump to see all of our content. We do videos and live streams on YouTube and just live streams on Twitch, of course. That's all you can do. Jeez. If you've got Amazon Prime, you get a Twitch sub with that. It's all part of the deal, so you can consider perhaps spending that on us. And when we are streaming on both YouTube and Twitch, we are modded by Lob Rotovich, Trailing Badger, and Mr. Black. Thank you, mods. We've got social media at twitter.com and facebook.com/Team TripleJump. We have video and live stream announcements over on Twitter. We have legacy video content and Facebook Lives starring Ashton and other people over on Facebook.
Yeah, I did one last week.
You did
Ashton
one last
and
week.
Friends.
Yes.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Talked for too long and then James was late for his stream.
Oh, no.
Well, actually, it wasn't my fault, but he blamed me, so I'll take the blame.
To be fair, James does stream for like 7 hours.
He
Yeah, he
does.
does.
It's true.
Yeah, you make a difference.
Fraser looks after our social media for us, so thank you, Fraser, for doing an excellent job. Finally, from me, patreon.com/Team TripleJump. Lots of tiers. They are still sort of new, so if you've not been on our Patreon for a month or so, you might not have seen the brand new stuff. Go and have a look.
Go and ask. Go and
ask.
check.
Go and ask.
There's some really good stuff on there.
We have a website. It's Team. Hold on.
It's Team.
Sorry. It's triplejet.mup. That's triplejut.mp. If you want to get to our Discord where all of our lovely friends are, you can go to triplejet.mup/Discord. We're modded by Jack, Tori, and Hollow Eyes. 3 wonderful people. And if they tell you to do something,
You better flip and
You do
listen
it.
to him.
If you want to listen to our podcast in its audio form, maybe you're going to the dentist and need something to listen to while they drill into your teeth, then simply go to triplejet.mup/podcast
Do
to
they let
find
you
out.
do that while they're drilling in your teeth?
Yeah, I was once listening to Billy Elliot while I was
Really?
getting my teeth drilled. It was not very
You were
nice.
listening to Billy Elliot, just the music, or is
From
there
the
like an
musical.
audiobook?
Hi, Ashton. It's me, Billy Elliot. You're doing great.
No,
No, I don't mean Billy himself. I just didn't know if it was
it's a
some
music.
sort of
It's a musical.
audiobook version.
It's a musical soundtrack.
Excellent.
Triplejet.mup/podcast to find out where you can listen to it. And if you want to watch some of our live streams, maybe you missed one of the many live streams that we do a week, you can go triplejut.mp/VODs to watch all of the VODs from all of our videos. And we also have merch. None of us are wearing it right now because we're all in Halloween costume.
am.
Oh.
No, don't.
This one's not available.
It's not
It says RIP. That's especially
Rip.
spooky.
RIP. You can go to triplejumpshop.com to see all of our new merch. There people have been receiving their merch right now, and if you want to see their merch, because it's been liked and retweeted by Triple Jump Shop on Twitter, so you can see everyone looking really nice in there. Oh yeah, here we go. It's sports time t-shirts.
Yeah, loads of those. Sold.
Yeah, loads of those going out.
Go give us a tweet when your merch arrives.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Show us. We're working on the next
We
merch drop
always
now,
like
just in
it.
time for Crimbles. So doing some stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Together. Why not follow Peter and Ashton on Instagram and Twitter at that Peter Austin and at Scrambled Ashton, and myself just on Twitter at confused_dude. We do lists every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. From next week, is it changing?
What? You mean temporarily? Yeah. From next week, is it changing?
Yeah, list.
We do lists every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Oh, lists. I thought you said streams. We do more streams than that. Yeah, from next week, we do lists every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yes.
Because old Ashton here,
Old Ashton.
They're finally letting me to do my own lists.
we built up a nice, healthy backlog so that we won't accidentally start Ashton's lists and then run out of lists and then have a gap. So You've
Ashton
now got non-stop
Matthews
Ashton for the rest of your life.
joins the battle.
Yeah.
So lists from next week, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Wowee. Streams every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Thursday being the joint stream on YouTube. Blaze it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday being the solo streams on Twitch. Worst Games Ever is fortnightly. Friday for patrons of a certain tier. Sunday for everyone else. The podcast is every Saturday, and we do shows once every other week, or thereabouts. We've got so much. We've had so much good stuff coming your way, guys, over the past fortnight, and it continues over this weekend as well. Why not leave a review on iTunes as well if you enjoyed the podcast? It genuinely helps with Al Gore's rhythms. So maybe a 5-star review. Don't leave us a 4-star review. That's kind of crappy.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Don't do that. It's free. Come on. TripleJump.gg if you want that delicious virtual currency or subscriptions. We've also still got the tat appeal going on. Your tat is flying in. If you haven't yet submitted your tat, there's the cutoff of the 19th of November. We'll be doing a big unboxing of all the tat and the worst games and so on. Just
It's not
before
got
Christmas.
to have arrived by the 19th of November if that's what you're worried about.
I feel the need to say, we'll probably say this on our live stream that will have already gone out by now by the time you see this podcast. But we should probably just say, I don't know if anyone's going to do this, but if you were thinking of sending stuff to us for Mikey, that might not be a good logistical idea.
Yes.
Because
we don't see him very often at all.
No.
We live on separate parts of the country.
we won't be able to forward it to him postage-wise because there might be a lot of it if people do that. And also, even when he does come up here to see us, or if I go down there, I don't know if you've been down to Bristol since we left, but if I've been down there once or twice, we usually fly either way, me and Mikey. So you don't want to put loads and loads of stuff in your bag. So don't send
very
stuff away.
thoughtful, but you know, Mikey can arrange his own tat if he wants.
Get in touch
if
with
he wants-
Mikey.
if you
you've
want to
got
send
some-
Mikey tat, that can be arranged, but arrange it with Mikey.
Yeah, I'm not saying
can't
don't give Mikey anything.
We can't be the middle person. But you're right, Ashton. The cutoff of the 19th of November, that's when we want you to stop sending things. But if things arrive after that, there'll be a grace period of about a week or thereabouts. So don't worry too much. Additionally, we can't cover extra costs of shipping and postage if things get held up in customs and stuff. So please make sure that you do cover all your
Put the
your
right
bases
stamps on that.
in that regards. But it's very exciting. We've got like 20, 25 things that have arrived already.
Yeah.
I want to open them so bad.
Yeah. But the people we're in the upstairs office with haven't got sick of it yet. They will
No,
soon.
yeah.
soon.
But oh boy, thank you so much to everyone who's already sent stuff in. It's a Worst Games Ever week. Be excited for Worst Games Ever. Additionally, we have a brand new main menu. We're back in the kitchen cooking a spooky Halloween thing.
Ooh, did Ashton chop anything off?
Oh my God, she's missing a fingy.
Ah, just like Lara. The muzzle's been returned with no
Like
finger.
Clara.
Fingers.
There's a Quip Scope all about Guardians of the Galaxy if you want to see some gameplay and our thoughts. That's up on the channel and also on the podcast feed if you want to listen to that instead. A big old ranked list, Peter.
Yeah, we did a rank list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Yes. Next. Yeah, we
I'm
did.
sorry, I don't understand the question.
Yeah, we did a Ghostbusters games ranked list where you can find out how we rank every single Ghostbusters game from worst to best.
Yes,
Did I
which is
describe
good.
it efficiently?
And which is
Yes.
bad. Wonderful editing from Alex, wonderful writing as always from Philip,
Yeah.
our ranked list writer.
I may just say, you both do a very good job with speaking.
Oh, Ashton, stop it.
Do stop.
Stop
Flattery
it.
will get you nowhere.
Stop it. Ashton, can you please tell us about what we're doing on Monday?
Yes, we're doing a charity stream. Oh my God. And it's for the cats. We're doing it for the
Meow.
cats.
We're doing
Meow.
it for
We're
the
part of Paws and Pals.
Players.
For Paws and Players. I
Paws
wrote
and-
it wrong
Paws and Bud
on the
Buds?
thing. Paws and Bud Buds.
Yeah.
For Cats Protection, we're going to be doing a stream on Monday, the 1st of November from 5
Yeah.
p.m.
Yes.
We're playing some cat-related games. We're going to raise some money. So if you've got a little bit of spare change, think about donating it to the cats. Come on.
Also, the clocks change in Britain this weekend, so think about that in terms of stream
Oh, yeah.
times.
It'll
We'll
be
be
5
streaming
p.m.
at
GMT,
GMT.
not BST.
Ask
We're
Google.
so sorry. It's so confusing.
If you're in Europe, you're still an hour ahead.
Yes.
I think. Are they hopping back as well, or are they going to
I
be
think
2 hours
different countries around the world,
Oh.
including America and Europe, change their clocks at different times.
Basically, if you're used to BST and you're from outside the UK, it'll be an hour earlier than expected.
just ask Google
Indeed.
what your time is converted to GMT,
GMT.
and then it will help.
Greenwich Mean Time.
Yeah.
So that's when we'll be streaming streaming. But yes, do come along if you can. Give generously. It's been a while since we raised money.
We've got some cool t-shirts.
The cats. Yes, we'll be wearing some cool shirts.
Yeah, we will.
And
Lovely.
I don't know if you've noticed, but we're all over their tweet.
Oh
It's
yeah,
our
we're all
faces
over
for some
there
reason.
Doing stock image,
their promotion.
enjoying video
Video
games.
game.
We did make an effort to make sure the controllers were turned on, though. I think,
Yeah.
right? 'Cause
No, I don't think we
I
did.
don't think we did.
Your controller's got some blue around it, I think.
Well, I did.
Ashton did. Peter and I, we can be asked. But yes, do come along. I believe we're streaming on Twitch to make that nice and simple.
Twitch.
So come along to Twitch and find us on Twitch. We'll be raising money through Tiltify as we have done before. If you've seen any of our charity streams, you'll know how it works. But there'll be stuff on social media, links and so on. So it should be fairly easy to find. This sort of period of money raising that Cats Protection and Pawsome Players are doing is open to everyone, by the way. And I think we are currently scheduled as the final stream because it finishes on the 1st of November, that sort of money, that fundraising period that they've set aside. So go through Cats Protection social media if you would like to sign up and do your own charity stream and raise money as well.
Last minute charity stream.
I appreciate you don't have much time left, but if you want to,
Do it.
you absolutely can.
Raise that money for the cats.
And finally, it's time to talk about this week's sponsor. Look
Did
at
you
that
print off that
wasteful
last page?
Yeah,
I
it
didn't.
happens every time.
I did also, but I put
I
it under your
check before I
chair.
press print.
Where's it gone? Did you kick it out from under your chair?
Well, I got up at one point. I'm sorry. My chair's wobbly, and Ashton went to great lengths to stop it from wobbling by folding up a piece of paper.
I didn't know what that was then. It's my tail. I thought it was a duck.
Are you a dog? Are you going to chase it? We are sponsored by Frankenstein's Monster Energy. Excuse me.
You've been drinking some.
I'm belching just thinking about it. A lot of people actually get it wrong. Monster Energy is the drink. Frankenstein, of course, say it with me, is the American beverage company that manufactures energy drinks and as of 2020 held nearly 39% of the 5.7 billion US energy drink market. It's simple, isn't it, really? Thanks so much for listening / watching, everybody. Have a wonderful and safe Halloween, and we'll see you next week.
Stay spooky.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
It's not monster in my hand. Sorry.
Monsters.
Well, then cover it up.
Monsties.
Monsties.
Coca-Cola. Oh, yeah. Monsties.